How's it going, you wonderful bounty hunters? It's Jay, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the origins of the Metroid series. It's been 35 years today since the legendary bounty hunter Samus touched down on the planet Zebes. Metroid is a series full of adventure, intrigue, mystery and darkness. You're isolated in these incredible alien worlds and we are here for it. After many incredible 2D adventures and 3D hits, we're going to be looking back at where this series began. So strap in and let's talk Metroid. Flashback to the 80s and Nintendo were on an all-time high. Miyamoto had penned some of the greatest games ever. We had Super Mario Bros, we had Zelda. What next for Nintendo? Super Mario Bros. Was the pinnacle of platforming. It was a simple concept that revolutionized side-scrolling games. You travel from left to right in this sort of linear, action-packed format. Collect coins, bop enemies, and battle Bowser. 2 buttons, a D-pad, and many endless possibilities. Then came along something a little bit different, the non-linear exploration of The Legend of Zelda. Beyond the arcade beeps and simple shooters, there was nothing quite like Zelda. A game that players could tackle in their own way, a fairy tale in 8-bit pixel form. Nintendo's R&D 1 team needed something big to sink their development teeth into, and Gunpei Yokoi, the creator of the Game Boy, the Game & Watch and the D-pad, was brought in to lead the brand new project. We had 3 key members on the project. Hiroji Kiritake designed the masked protagonist Samus and various key baddies. Yoshihiro Sakamoto directed the game, and Makoto Kano devised the scenario. So why did we mention Mario and Zelda before? Well, this new project was supposed to combine the side-scrolling elements of Mario with the open-world approach of Zelda, and the result was Metroid. And Nintendo wanted to create something a little bit darker, a little bit more emotive compared to the colourful outings of their previous games. The game's inspiration, the absolutely iconic and ferocious Ridley Scott 1979 epic Alien, starring Sigourney Weaver. A tale of corporations, outer space worlds, and disturbing parasitic life forms who are a big threat to humanity. With Weaver as a female lead, it spurred on the team to ask, what about if the person inside the spacesuit was a woman? The team agreed, and Samus Aran was born, a lone bounty hunter that faces horrific, disturbing and freakish alien creatures using her skills and upgrades to just about make it through. A fearless, powerhouse adventurer, humanity's last resort against a big space threat. The alien designs that litter these planets in the Metroid series were inspired by H.R. Geiger, who worked on the Alien film. Sticky, slimy creatures that bear some human characteristics. I really shudder just looking at these creatures. You can see the same sort of designs sort of feed into the art for Metroid. These scaly, organic monsters with claws, spikes and lots of legs. Ew. Apart from the sci-fi setting, what made Metroid different was the less linear approach compared to loads of other games at the time. Many games had you do level to level, go from left to right, beat the baddies, bop the boss, that's it. A simple and effective format. Metroid, on the other hand, is practically a single stage, a huge map to roam about that's gated by the different abilities and upgrades that Samus has. It's something that's seen in most of the sequels that came after it, and a staple of game design that became known as Metroidvania, a portmanteau of Metroid and Castlevania. That door that you couldn't pass 3 hours ago that was miles away, well, a special upgrade that you've just got will now see you be able to walk through it. Backtracking sounds like an absolute chore, but the eerie, tense mood of Metroid made it oh so worth it. Metroid wouldn't be Metroid without the sound design to lure you through these deep and dank alien caves. Hirokazu Hip Tanaka composed the score for various Nintendo games in the 80s and 90s, including Earthbound, Mother, Kid Icarus, and Dr. Mario, and perhaps one of his most influential scores had to be the original Metroid. Tanaka didn't want to repeat the same jingles and tropes from games at the time, and instead put together a more atmospheric beat throughout the game to complement the mood, rather than just be fun and chipper. And it worked. Metroid is so far apart from the blockbuster hits that dominated the 80s. It's dark, it's gritty, and it pioneered something that we don't really talk about: multiple endings. That's right, the game had 1 of 5 multiple endings depending on how quick you beat the game. Is this one of the first examples of speedrunning? Beyond the NES game came the Game Boy sequel, a slightly more linear approach that captured the essence of Metroid on this teeny tiny cartridge. And following on from Samus's Pocket Tales was a game that is still considered one of the best adventures for the bounty hunter, Super Metroid. The clue is really in the title, Super Metroid. The team really wanted to create a sequel that lived up to the NES debut. It hit hard. The visual spectacle, the twists and turns throughout, and the sheer scale of Super Metroid. Metroid ended up with a handful of canon tales since the SNES days, with a take on the Game Boy Advance with Fusion, and a string of 3D hits from Retro Studios with the genre-defining Metroid Prime series. And this year, finally, to coincide with 35 years of Metroid, a new game is taking the story further with Metroid Dread spawning onto Switch. Back in 1986, Gunpei Yokoi and his team wanted to create something that really stood up to the blockbuster hits that Miyamoto had created, and the team delivered. Metroid is timeless, it's iconic, and it changed the landscape of adventure games forever. And there we go, a little trip back through time to witness the birth of one of Nintendo's most iconic franchises. I'm sure there's so many more Metroid tales to come. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more geeky, more gaming and more Nintendo videos, you might want to subscribe. And before we move on to the next video, be sure to check out our exclusive merch, geeky and gaming designs voted for by you. A huge thank you for all your support. Links are in the description. And that's it, a little way of us celebrating 35 years of Metroid. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.